Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast-paced, high-pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership, one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin. Welcome back to Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I'm your host, Singh. Today, we are diving into one of the most important and most difficult topics for leaders: how to stay calm, focused, and present when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. Ponder this. Life is full of curveballs. Maybe it's a work crisis, like your team's missing a huge deadline. Maybe a personal one, like your toddler deciding the living room is perfect place to paint with spaghetti. Or maybe you're just that another billionaire who just bought Twitter, fired half the staff, and turned the blue check mark into a meme. Whatever be the chaos, we have all been there. But here's the thing: chaos is inevitable. The question is how we show up, and that is more important. Are you the leader who panics and makes things worse? Or you are the one who stays calm, focused, and inspires everyone around you? That's what today's episode is all about. Being honest, staying calm in crisis is easier said than done, right? I mean, I am one of those few individuals who had gone through an actual ransomware attack and brought the company out in less than 40 hours. Millions of dollars and hundreds and thousands of jobs at stake, right? Um, so if you think about simpler moments, one of those moments where the tiniest thing sets you off, like someone cutting you off in traffic, I don't know, or Ticketmaster telling you you are the 2,000 people, or there are 2,000 people ahead of you for the Taylor Swift tickets, right? So maybe you are more of a big picture stress person. Remember the Evergreen ship that got stuck in Suez Canal? That ship wasn't just blocking global trade, it was a metaphor for how most of us feel during a crisis: stuck, overwhelmed, and praying that someone somewhere has a plan to dig us out. But here's the good news: you don't need the mini bulldozer like we needed for the Evergreen ship to move through your own crises. You just need a few simple tools, a little bit of perspective, and maybe a sense of humor. Because if Elon Musk can make it through a week of Twitter chaos, you can definitely handle whatever life throws your way. So here's the plan today. First, we'll talk about the science of stress, what's happening in your brain and body when chaos hits, and why it's so hard to stay calm. We share some real world examples and stories of leaders who absolutely nailed it under pressure, and a few, well, who didn't. And finally, some practical techniques to stay grounded: how to breathe through a crisis, and how to visualize success even when it feels everything is falling apart. All right, let's dive into the basic question: why presence is your ultimate superpower during a crisis. I want you to think back to the last time you were in a high stress situation. Maybe it was a work deadline, an argument
with a loved one, or just trying to assemble IKEA furniture without losing your sanity. What did you do? Did you react impulsively? Did you freeze? Or did you manage to channel your inner Zen master and handle it with calm and clarity? If you are like most of the people, including me, on an off day, the answer is probably somewhere between screaming into a pillow and Googling how to disappear. But here's the thing, when chaos hits, your ability to stay present doesn't just help you, it helps everyone around you. Your team, your family, even that IKEA dresser, all you need to show up as the calm, capable leader that they can rely on. And the good news, presence isn't something you were born with. It's a skill you can practice. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain and body during a crisis. When stress hits, your nervous system goes into the fight and flight response. Your heart races, your brain becomes shallow, and your brain's like, let's panic and make terrible decisions. It's your body's way of getting ready to fight a tiger or run away from a danger. The problem, most of the crises we face today don't involve tigers. They involve emails, they involve deadlines, or if you're Musk, trying to figure out why everyone's mad about your latest tweet. Now, here's the kicker. When you are in the flight or fight mode, the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, basically goes offline. That's why it is so hard to think clearly or make good decisions when you are stressed. It's like driving a car with the GPS screaming, recalculating every 2 seconds. Yeah, we know, we all been there, right? So here's the good news, you can interrupt that stress cycle and turn the volume back up on your rational brain. How? By practicing presence. Studies have shown that mindful practices or staying present in the moment actually rewires your brain. It lowers cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. It reduces the activity in amygdala. That's the panic center of our brain. And it strengthens the prefrontal cortex. Translation, when you stay present, you don't just feel calmer, you became you become calmer, you become more focused, and you're equipped to handle whatever is coming your way. Imagine you're standing in line for Taylor Swift tickets at Ticketmaster. The queue says there are 2,000 people ahead of you. Your browser's spinning and your heart is racing. Your fight and flight response kicks in, and suddenly you are yelling at your Wi Fi router like that is the villain of your story. Or something's wrong with your browser. But here's the thing, panicking won't get you those tickets any faster. Take a deep breath, staying calm, and maybe just refreshing the page slowly might. Same thing applies to real life crisis. When you stay grounded, you give yourself the best chance of finding a solution. Now that we understand the science, let's look at what presence actually looks like in action. Now, whenever I talk about presence, I have to talk about Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger. You know, the pilot who landed a plane on Hudson River and became a national hero overnight. January 15, 2009, you're flying on US Airways flight 1549, and everything seems fine until suddenly both engines fail. You're 2,000 feet in the air with no power and 155 lives depending on you. For most people, this is the moment where panic takes over, but not Sully. Captain Sully stayed calm, assessed the situation, and decided to land the plane on Hudson River. And he did. He did pull it off. Every single person on that flight survived. Now, here is what's fascinating about Captain Sully. He was not born with superhuman calmness. He credits his ability to stay present to years of preparation and practice. When the crisis hit, he didn't waste time thinking, why is this happening? Or what if I fail? He focused on what he could control and take the next right step. That's what presence looks like in a crisis. So, two things out of this story. First, presence isn't about eliminating fear, it's about not letting fear control you. And second, you don't need to land plane on a river, practice staying calm under pressure. You can start small, like next time your coffee spills, or your toddler throws a tantrum, or somebody cuts off on the highway. Take a deep breath, pause, and ask yourself, what is one thing I can control right now? It's all about focusing on what's within your power in that moment and not what's outside of it. Of course, not everyone handles crisis like Captain Sully, right? Remember the evergreen ship I mentioned earlier, the one that got stuck in Suez Canal and blocked global trade for 6 whole days. The ship, as I mentioned, wasn't just a logistical nightmare. It was a giant floating metaphor of how most of us feel during crisis, stuck, overwhelmed, completely unsure of what to do next. But here's the thing, the ship didn't get unstuck because people panicked. It got unstuck because people took small, deliberate actions, digging, tugging, and yes, probably Googling how to move a giant boat. But whether you're landing a plane, moving a ship, or just trying to survive a Monday morning, the lesson is the same. Stay calm, take small steps, and trust that you will get through it, preferably without blocking the world's trade routes. All right. Now that we have covered the presence as being your ultimate superpower in crisis, let's get into the good stuff, which is the tools. These are simple science backed techniques you can use to stay calm, focused, and composed. Even when it feels like the world is on fire, trust me, you don't need a yoga mat or a mountain retreat to make these things work. You can use them in middle of a chaotic meeting, in traffic, or even in trying to survive your next family holiday dinner. Presence matters because it helps you think clearly, act decisively, and lead with confidence. You don't need to be a hero like Captain Sully or a logistics wizard like the Swiss Canal engineers to practice presence. You just need to pause, breathe, and focus on what is within your control. It sounds simple, but doesn't mean it's easy, which is why now I'm going to share with you some practical tools to actually cultivate presence in high stress moments. The first one, we start with the breathing exercise. Why? Because it is the fastest and easiest and most effective way to calm your body and mind in middle of a crisis. When we are stressed, our breathing gets shallow, our heart races, and our brain goes into overdrive. But when you slow down your breath, you send a signal to your brain that says, hey, we are safe. It's okay to relax. Think of it like hitting the reset button on your nervous systems. For the health nerds out there, and I put on elliptical very, very frequently, and this is a constant exercise I ask everyone to do, and you will see a result immediately. When you get into a cardio exercise, and when your heart rate is, you're getting a reading of about 145, 150, 160, right around that. And if you can just focus on your breath and you increase the size of your breath, the long breath from the shallow breathing, you will see the drop in your readings significantly in fraction of seconds. So What I'm going to teach today is box breathing, one of my favorite techniques. Navy SEALs use this to stay calm under pressure. So you know it works. Here is how it goes. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, and exhale for 4 seconds. Now hold again for 4 seconds. So it's 4 seconds of inhalation, 4 seconds of holding your breath, 4 seconds of exhalation, and 4 seconds of holding again. So it's tracing the sides of a box and hence called the box breathing. Now imagine you are in a high stress moment, like trying to buy Taylor Swift's ticket on Ticketmaster, and the queue says there are 2,000 people ahead of you. Your heart's racing, your blood pressure spiking, and you're about 3 seconds away from throwing your laptop out of the window. Instead of panicking, try box breathing. It won't magically get you those tickets, but it will help you stay calm and even help you mindfully refresh the page without breaking your keyboard. So let's do a quick guided practice. You can do this practice in any posture and during any activity. And I mentioned you can do this even when you're stuck in traffic to calm your nerves. So take inhalation for a count of four. One, two, three, four. Hold your breath. One, two, three, four. Exhale from your nostrils. One, two, three, four. And hold again. One, two, three, four. If you do this 2 to 3 times, you will notice how your body feels a little calmer already. That's the power of your breath. The another great technique is 4-7-8 breathing. Now, box breathing is something I have already shared in the previous episodes. There is a free download guide on those episodes. You can go and download to practice that. Another great technique is 4-7-8 breathing. Now, this one perfect for those moments when anxiety hits hard. And the way this works is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and you exhale for 8 seconds. Now, what happens is the long exhale helps your body relax even more. So you inhale for count of four. One, two, three, four. You hold for a count of seven. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and you exhale. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Now, right there, you will feel that shift. It's like your body just turned down the volume on stress. Even when I'm helping you guys visualize how that practice happens, I can feel you can already see change in my voice, and it's getting lightened up. So next time you feel stress creeping in, whether it's during a meeting, a tough conversation, or when someone cuts you off in the traffic, pause and do one off, either box breathing or the 4-7-8, just for 1 minute. It's like giving your brain a mini vacation in middle of a chaos. All right. Let's talk about the power of mindful pause. When we are in the middle of a crisis, it's easy to react impulsively, yelling, blaming, and even worse, making decisions we regret later. But a mindful pause gives you a space to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. It's like hitting that pause button on a movie before the action scene goes off the rails. So this one is the stop method, STOP. One of my favorite tools is the stop method. Simple, stop, take a breath, observe what's happening both around you and inside you, and proceed with intention. It's very simple but very incredible tool and has huge effect. What scientifically you are doing is the moment you stop and you take a breath and you force yourself to become the observer of things happening both around you and inside you, you just got yourself out of autopilot. So let's say you are in a heated meeting and someone says something that pushes your buttons. Instead of snapping back with a sarcastic comment, or even worse, pulling a Will Smith Oscar moment, you stop, take a breath. You notice that you're feeling angry or defensive, and you remind yourself to respond, maybe by saying, let me think about that, instead of, you're wrong, and here's why. So think of top method as your crisis superpower. That is what separates you from, let's say, the evergreen ship stuck in the Swiss Canal, because that ship wasn't exactly observing or proceeding with intention. It was just sitting there, blocking global trade and becoming the internet's most favorite meme. Don't be the evergreen, be the tugboat that calmly and deliberately gets things moving again. So here's another challenge for you. Next time you feel yourself getting triggered, try the stop method. It only takes a few seconds, but it can completely shift you mindset on how you handle situations. And if it works for you, maybe pass it along to the person who cut you off in the traffic. And finally, let's talk about visualization. When stress clouds your judgment, visualization can help you find clarity and confidence. It's like giving your brain a dress rehearsal for success. Athletes use this all the time. Michael Phelps famously visualized every stroke of his race before he even got in the pool. And if it works for Olympic gold medalists, it can definitely work for you. So if you are not driving or using any dangerous mechanical tool, then do this exercise quickly with me. Close your eyes if you can and picture yourself in the middle of a chaotic moment. Maybe a tough conversation with your boss, a project going off rails. I don't know, maybe trying to figure out if Harry Styles actually spit on Chris Pine at the Don't Worry Darling premiere. Whatever the chaos, see yourself standing in the eye of the storm. The wind is swirling around you, but in the center, it's calm. You're grounded, steady, and completely in control. Now, picture yourself taking the next right step. See yourself handling that situation with confidence, with grace, and clarity. Hold on, hold on to that image for a moment. Feel the calm in your body. Take one more deep breath. One more deep breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Visualization isn't just about staying calm, it's about mentally rehearsing the outcome you want. So the next time you are facing a high stakes moment, take 30 seconds to visualize yourself handling it like a pro. Because if you can set it in your mind, you're one step closer to making it reality. Now, I want you to think back to a recent moment when you felt stressed and overwhelmed or completely out of control. Whatever it was, bring that moment to the mind and really picture it. What were you feeling? What was happening around you? And most importantly, how did you respond? So it's a key step that I want you to think about that moment. The first step is introspection, breaking down the situation. What happened? What was going on? And then thinking about what was in control. And as importantly, what wasn't in control. For example, my car had a flat tire. I spent first 15 minutes yelling at the universe about why this happened today. Was that helpful? No, not at all. Right? So the third thing I want you to do then is rewrite the response. Imagine going back to that stressful moment, but this time you're armed with the tools we have talked about today. What would you say or do differently? And most importantly, how would you feel after that? Take a moment to reflect on the chaotic moments that has happened with you recently. Go through introspection, think about what was in control and what was not in control, and rewrite the response. Here's a challenge. Pick one tool, just one, and practice it the next time you feel stressed, whether it's a tough meeting at work, a family argument, or just trying to figure out what's for dinner. Pause and put the tool into action. If all else fails, just remember, even the ever given ship got unstuck eventually. If a massive container ship with its own meme account can make it through a crisis, so can you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives on the Transformation Radio. I am Singh, your host. I'll see you next time. Until then, take a breath, stay present, and remember, you got this.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building stronger connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.